They got me on the last one. I almost came. Yeah. Okay.
I was worried you were going to. I know.
Wow, that's a very deep song.
It's a pretty intense song.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, those are these questions. Yeah, this searching for meaning type of thing. I like growing up Mennonite. I mean, since you brought it up, I didn't. Yeah, I don't know what that. I'm ignorant of. And I know that the Amish community is in Lancaster, and I know about the whole part where they can decide, like I think when they're 16, if they want to leave that world. I don't know what the Mennonite.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and I wasn't very conservative. My family wasn't very conservative, but we were around a lot of very conservative Mennonites. There's a whole range of and I won't go into that right now. But I would say that my church environment was a lot more conservative than my family environment was. But there were a lot of I saw. I think for me the biggest sort of formative experience of the Mennonite church for me was digging into what I read in the Bible and what I was taught and the difference between what people said and then how it played out in real life. And I think a lot of the religious subject matter in my songs really comes back to that. And sometimes it seems like it's taking it directly out on God, but a lot of it has nothing to do with what I really believe or don't believe about God. It has to do with what I've experienced from the people, people of God, or the people that.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this beforehand that both of us in church, in Sunday school, my grandmother played in Sunday school in church, but I only found out after I got like 9 Presbyterian ministers in our family all the way back to the 1760. They came here and they settled in York County, and they just spread out. My one my great grandfather was called circuit riders in Nebraska, where they rode on horseback from one church to the next. he would have a sermon in the morning and then ride 15 miles on horseback to his next sermon.
Wow, that's even more hardcore than where I came from.
It's kind of like a missionary thing, but I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any of that about the family, and so I was raised in a Presbyterian church, and I remember kind of writing about the same type of. I've written about the same kind of things, like maybe hypocritical type of things, or searching things, and always wonder where it came from. Where that. So it's very.
And it's I think it's one of my biggest worries as a songwriter, because I'm a pretty mediative person. I like to get along with people. I like to understand each other. I mean, to understand people where they're coming from. It's easy for me to, listen to somebody else's story and feel for where they came from. So when I put material out there that has a capacity to offend, that's hard for me. But I never to the point where I censor it or don't put it out there. And I think it's nice when I get a chance to talk about it, because what I say is that I feel like I ask these questions with a lot of reverence, and sometimes what comes out feels very irreverent, and I'm not sure what to do about that. But I
know exactly what you mean. It's as an artist though, what more can you do? You really.
I have to write what I feel is true, and that's
right.
That's the double. Sometimes I've had a few times when I'll have a lyric that keeps coming back. It's like it wants to be in the song, and I say to myself, no, you cannot write that. You cannot write that. That is not going in the song. And I'll have this fight with myself about it, and like this is going to seem like this and this and this, and it sort of presses its way in, and ultimately the reason that it makes its way in is because I've thoroughly assessed whether whether I feel it's true or not, and
Yeah.
and it is, and so at least it's true for me.
I really like Steve Earle's a really good, like a favorite songwriter of mine, and he writes very provocative type of stuff that the one song Jerusalem that he wrote, is like that type of thing where he's talking about all the different religions, they all come from Abraham, and but I think of like Alleluia by Leonard Cohen, and covered by Jeff Buckley was a great version. I think that how do you feel like finding the right I guess forum for those type of songs is difficult, I find, because I'll like go play at a gig and it's like, hey, play something fun, and then you just drop this one right in the middle, and like, wow, it makes you think, it's like.
Well, and that's one of my problems when I play solo, especially. And when I play with my band, they dress stuff up. It's a little bit more upbeat. But when I play solo, a lot of my stuff is very intense, and I have to find ways to sort of break up a show so that people aren't getting overloaded with that intensity. And if you want, I'll play something a little bit more upbeat for the next one. No. I mean, I think it would be, and it actually it goes along with. It does actually come from a very Mennonite idea, which is that
Mennonite idea.
It's my one and only country song, and Mennonites are famous for taking on too much and not being able to say no, and just wanting to help everybody all the time. And so this is this song is called No One But Myself.
Okay. That's cool. Hey, I was just looking over this list. I mean, you said you started 2006, 2007, really putting the band together and everything. But I mean, 2010, you won the Solar Fest.